What if you started letting oracle cards tell your story? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wednesday Root. I am Mel Morris with WTF with Mel, and today I want to ask the question that what if you let oracle cards help you tell your story? Now, I know some of you don't use oracle cards, maybe are a little leery about what is oracle cards, what kind of magic is this? Am I bringing out the devil? You'd be surprised at things I hear from people. And I want to be really clear that cards, oracle cards, or any other cards, they are pieces of paper, right? I've mentioned this before. They are pieces of paper with beautiful imagery on them, with messages that whoever created the cards has put together to help you connect with your intuition and nothing more. Whatever your intention is, that's what you get out of the cards. And so today I want to really focus on getting you to ask questions of yourself around the things that are running through my mind. Are these really my thoughts, or are they thoughts that I think are important for other people? Am I asking questions about my life, or am I asking questions about the life that someone else wants me to lead or expects me to lead? And this week I want to focus on oracle cards because I've talked a lot about tarot cards here before, but I really haven't talked a lot about using oracle cards in this way. And B, I also want to talk about this because, as you may or may not have seen, starting this Friday, the workshop series is going to be going live. And I'll pop it up here briefly. And it's the workshop series is called Choosing You. And it's a series of workshops. I'll do it once a month. And each month I'm going to be talking about different tools that can help you to connect with your intuition, to answer questions that you might have about things going on in the world, in life. And I think, hey, Keela, I think that there's a way, I'll make sure that Janelle can pop in here the link so that it's in here early on. But I want to, at the end, I will mention this again, but in case you haven't already signed up, I'd love to see you. We have a session on this Friday and again on Wednesday, the same one. This month, we're going to be focusing on connecting to your intuition. Let me hide this. Using tools like tarot and oracle cards. And you don't have to have either in order to come to the group. It really is going to be about, again, focusing on the questions, right? Getting much better at asking ourselves the questions that we really want to know about next steps, decisions, whatever in our life, and then finding ways to listen to our intuition. So just real quickly, I want to talk a little bit about oracle cards. Again, I'm going to just focus on oracle cards today. So tarot cards are a closed system, right? So without getting too technical in here, because this isn't like a class on reading tarot, but there are specific meanings. A traditional tarot deck, regardless of the imagery in it, each card has a specific meaning. There's major arcana, there's minor arcana, and though you can have wide interpretation of what you see in each card and based on your questions, etc., it's considered a closed system, meaning that, again, you're always going to have the same 4 suits. You're going to have the same 22 major arcana cards. And so that is a much more kind of structured system. Whereas oracle cards are what I like to think of as like the cheerleader cards, right? So they tend to be more about not just like affirmations, but there's more messaging that goes behind them, right? Each deck of oracle cards has, a wide range of themes based on whoever created the oracle cards. But ultimately, the purpose of them, again, is to help you to connect to your intuition and connect your energy to the energy of the cards, right? Both through the visuals that you'll see in a card and the meanings that the author, that creator, has assigned to those cards. So you may have heard me talk before, okay, well, I don't even understand how this whole energy thing is supposed to work with these cards, right? If you've heard me talk about manifesting, right? So manifesting is you asking the universe, the divine, that power, whatever that is bigger than you, whatever you call that, goddess, God, whatever you like to call that. Manifestation starts with you asking a question, asking for some clarity or for something. The universe then receives that, right? That's not your job. The universe, or again, whatever title you want to give, is going to respond, and respond in a way that can be received by you if you're able to listen to that answer. Okay. And that's that connection to intuition. So when we talk about connecting to energy of card like oracle and tarot cards, same idea, right? We start with focusing ourselves, creating a space that's really open to receiving information, and connecting our energy to, again, something that's bigger than us, to our subconscious self that is connected to something bigger. We then formulate a question, right? So the ask that we're going to provide to, again, the universe, higher power, divine, however you identify that. And that energy that we're putting towards sending that out into the universe is what happens, gets pushed into, when we're shuffling the cards, when we are, this is a new oracle deck that I got just for our work in the workshop. I've been wanting to get this deck for a while. This is the Enchanted Map Oracle set. It's beautiful. And so when we're shuffling the cards, when we're really focusing our energy, then that is us transferring our energy, our intention into intentionally finding answers, to hearing answers to whatever we're asking, right? So then as we pull a card, we're thinking about our question, we pull the card, and then it's about interpretation. It's about listening to the response, right? So we have our ask, the universe provides an answer, and in this form, it's a card. It's a card that comes up, and then our job is to interpret what we're seeing, right? So our intuition, as I look at this card, and I'll put it up on the screen so you can see it with me. There we go. So our job is to then look at this card and, what jumps out at you, right? You guys probably have seen me enough times now ask people these questions. What jumps out at you? What colors, what images, what things initially pop into your mind before your brain starts creating a story, right? Because once your brain gets involved in trying to answer and figure shit out, you've lost the connection to intuition. That's no longer your intuition speaking to you. That's your brain that wants you to be safe, kicking in, right? So when I have people look at a card and just say, like, what's the first thing that jump out at you, right? Some people may say in this card, it may be the two giraffes. It may be that maybe they're kissing. It may be the hearts. It may be the trees on either side. It could be anything, right? What's jumping out at you? What colors, images? What's the feeling that you're getting? Hey, Charmaine, What's the feeling that you're getting when you are looking at this card, right? So the two giraffes kissing, right? So that's your, again, that first thing that jumps out at you before you start creating a story. That's your intuition giving you some signals like, oh, okay, I'm trying to tell you something. So these are the things I want you to notice first, right? So then you take that step back and you say, okay, if, as Keila mentioned, the two giraffes are kissing. Now I have to think about, all right, what was my question? Whatever your question was, right? And how does that relate to what jumped out at me, right? So a simple one would be if this were about relationship, right? I'm thinking about getting married. I'm thinking about my relationship. I'm thinking about, will I find love? If it's that kind of question, right? Then maybe when you see those giraffes kissing, it feels really good. It feels natural. It feels normal. And that's going to give a feeling to you, right, in your body. That, again, that's your intuition signaling to you, this feels good, this feels expansive, or maybe not so much. Maybe you look at this card in a relationship type of setting and question, and you see that I'm going to call him a stork. I don't know that it's a stork on top. Maybe that's what jumps out at you. And maybe you have a really bad association with storks and you're like, oh, that stork is just kind of ruining what's happening in this otherwise beautiful picture, right? If that's the thing that jumps out at you, again, that's your intuition showing you, triggering you to connect with something in a way that you can now understand because you're in a place to listen, right? Now, I mean, of course, everybody's not asking about love, and this is a very kind of general question that I put out there. But let's say let's say your question was about business, right? I am going to start this new business, and what do I need to know? What do I need to know about this new business right now? And maybe just the notion of this card coming together means, maybe there's somebody else I'm supposed to be pulling into this to give me some help, to assist me with this, right? Maybe it's, maybe you have someone in your past who you've talked about starting a business with, and that kind of fell off. And while you're looking at this card, you think about that person and you're like, oh, you know what? Maybe I should get in touch with so-and-so and see, right? So the point here is that you have to ask the question, be really thoughtful about what you're asking. And we're going to spend a lot of time in the beginning phases of figuring out the best way to ask the questions that you really want to know. We're going to spend a lot of time in that in the workshop. And once you have formulated that question and then you look at this card, then you start making those interpretations based on what initially jumped out at you, what your question is. Now, with oracle cards, because they're all different, every deck is completely different. Again, they're all different themes. It is important to read what comes up in the guidebook, right? Because that's going to give you even more context to what the full meaning of this card is. It doesn't take away from what jumped out at you, but as you're reading, you start to think about like, okay, well, based on whatever was written in this book, in this for this particular deck, this is 𝗟𝗿𝗰𝗋, one of my favorite spiritual teachers. This is one of her decks. I have many of her decks. And so, for example, just quickly, I won't read all of it, but part of this says, this card assures you that love has come calling and seeks a partner in its dance. Know that you're cherished. Like a magnet, you're attracting love into your life. This is a time for harmonious, caring partnerships, right? So there's more in there. But again, you want to read through all that's in there. And now that's more information, right? That you're going to be putting into what your intuition saw, what your question is, so that now you can go back and reflect and say, okay, I asked this question about my relationship, right? Should I move forward, or am I going to get into a relationship? Let's say that. this card comes up, you felt nothing but tingly, beautiful feelings. The things that jumped out at you were those, kissing giraffes and the love, etc. And then you read the definitions, and most of what jumps out at you in the reading there is about connection, is about partnership, right? Doesn't always have to be about love. But that's kind of the simplified version, right, of what you are going to go through when you decide whether or not you want to do, use oracle cards or tarot cards, similar process with your readings, right? So I pulled one card earlier that I'll show, and I actually pulled it yesterday, and I pulled it again today. This was literally the first card I pulled out of the deck yesterday when I was thinking. My question was about what do people need to know as I am going to talk to them about this upcoming workshop? And it was this magical map shifter. So for a lot of reasons, this is really meaningful to me. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I have a live show twice a month with 3 amazing women called the Magical Cartographers. And it is about, our work really is about creating our own map, right? Creating our own new processes and steps. So that's one thing that kind of the title of it jumped out at me initially. But the card, as I read into the card, it really confirmed a lot of what I saw, which in the images beyond the name were the compass in her hand and the compass in her chest, right? Were the 2 things that kind of first jumped out at me when I looked at the card. And that idea of navigation and finding your way, all of those things are things that this workshop is going to help you to do, and are things that I want you to know about. When I then read the information about the card, not only did it confirm those things, but it also brought into play that this really is a card about someone coming into your life who is going to be able to help you to find direction, right? And so in that instance, it really was perfect because, again, what I want you to know is that I do want to come and help. I do want you to allow me to, just get you started on this journey, right? Each of these workshops that we're going to be doing each month are just, 90 minutes, small group workshops where you're going to get an opportunity to not only learn about some different tools that might help, but actually practice while we're there, right? So it's not a big commitment. It's not, a 3-month course that you need to do something with. This is really, it's important for me to provide things that are simple and tangible for people to use so that you can get out and use these things, right? When you need help asking questions, you have tools and you're equipped to start using them, right? So I will say that, again, you don't have to have any cards in order to, let me take this off the screen. You don't have to come with your own cards. If you have them, yes, absolutely bring them. That would be helpful for you, I believe. But if not, I got plenty of cards. I have time built in there to pull cards for anyone who needs them. I'm happy to do that. And I will pop back up in the screen just so that you see it here. I do really, really, really think that this is going to be, I know it's going to be super fun. I've already got some amazing folks signed up. If Friday at 6 Eastern doesn't work for you, I will be hosting, still live, but the same workshop again on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And so you can join for either one. I mean, you can come to both if you'd like. You're going to get the day before, like 24 hours before, you will get a workbook that is yours, that will have all the information that we're going to be going over and help to keep you on track while I'm giving some lesson piece. And then as we practice, there's going to be space there for you to really write down what your journey was going through it, so that you have something when you leave to take with you. So I hope that was helpful. I think it's important for us to remember that there are a lot of stories that happen in our lives. There are a lot of times when, again, we are living a life that either someone else wants us to lead or expects us to lead. And it's time now. The reason this series is called Choosing You is because it really is time for you to start focusing on you and what your story is and how you can grow that out. So I definitely hope that you can join me. Again, the first workshop is Friday at 6 Eastern. The next one is Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And they're both going to be on using tarot and oracle to help connect to your intuition. We'll have information up about next month's workshop and what tool we'll be using. That'll come up, that you'll see that Friday. I'll talk more about that then. But I hope this was helpful. If you've got any questions at all, oh, awesome, 𝗀𝗲𝗰. Yeah, I mean, come to the workshop. You should totally come. I'd love to see you there. So if you have any questions, you all know how to find me. Send me a message. If you want a 2-minute tarot, that is still an option. If you go to the site, you can ask a question and I will I'll pull a card for you and give you a free 2-minute tarot reading based on whatever your question is. That's always an option. But let me know how I can help, and I definitely hope to see you at the workshop. So if there's no other questions, that's going to do it for me. Thanks so much for being here and supporting me always. I love you. Stay magical.